We want to welcome class of 77. This is our first class to have a class reunion since JCM has been open. So this will be their first time visiting JCM and the new renovation. So they will have a full tour at 4 o'clock today. We do have a few of our student council members that will be guiding and leading that tour for a class of 77. So we want to welcome you. We have Mr. Minor here. He will start it off. They wanted to talk to you because JCM has a rich history. It started off as Mary High, and they wanted to talk to you because we don't have seniors. You will be our first senior class, and that will be number 46, correct? Okay, Mr. Minor told me the other day when we met that you will be number 46. 45 classes have graduated from JCM, so you will be for number 46. So that's something that we're going to be having shirts made, senior class number 46. We have a lot of things planned for you. After they finish talking to you, I have some things I want you to put on your calendar that I have planned to get ready for our senior year. We want to welcome you, Mr. Minor. Come on up. But they do want to talk about their history, the time that they had here at JCM. He said that they are the largest class. They had 552 graduates going on in 77. So that was one of the largest classes. But we do have some class members that try to disagree with y'all. They said they the largest class. I've heard that, so we didn't want to battle that today and tackle that, but he's claiming it, and we're going to support him with his claims on that. So let's welcome to the new JCM, the rebirth, and I hope that you guys learn a lot, and if you have any questions based on what they talk about, you can ask them at the end of after they finish talking, okay? Thank you.
Hello, number 46. How you guys doing? I bring you greetings from number 7. The 7th graduating class of JCM, the class of 77, the largest class to ever to graduate from this famous school. And today what we want to do is that we want to give you a little bit of insight on what success looks like. And we have several of my classmates that's going to come up, and they're going to tell you about their journey from this great school to where they are now. Successful, productive citizens to their communities. So, without further ado, I want to bring up a local guy, John Carlson, and John will talk about his venture. John, you're on.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, I'm John Carlson, class of 1977. Like Michael said, greetings from number 7 to number 46. Go Cougars. Went to Jackson Central Mary with some of the most talented and wonderful friends anybody could ever have. If you look at some of the folks that have come out of Jackson Central Mary, we've had people on the national and world stage, and athletics, politics, law enforcement, science, and medicine, anything you can think of. When I was at Central, I came from a family that didn't have any college graduates. Was able to work hard, and I got appointments to the Coast Guard Academy, the Air Force Academy, scholarships to Martin and Vanderbilt. And I went to the Air Force Academy and then wound up changing my major. I started out in political science and changed it to engineering. Got a degree in civil engineering. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the states of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Illinois. I was wound up being head of the Jackson office of Hart Freeland Roberts. Went to Paducah, Kentucky, was city engineer and director of environmental services for the city. Ran a materials testing laboratory for the equivalent of Oak Ridge that they have up there in Paducah, the Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant. And from there, I was in charge of another engineering firm in Paducah after I left the city. And then had a chance to come back to Tennessee for the University of Tennessee, working as a public works and engineering consultant for the university, helping cities all across the state with streets and drainage, sewer and water, any of the public works things that are associated with municipal government. I've been able to design bridges, water tanks, water lines, and things like that. I'm serving on the state board as secretary for the Tennessee chapter of the American Public Works Association, secretary on the board of the Tennessee Stormwater Association, and teach classes for the Tennessee Public Works Institute. So there's nothing that can hold you back with an education from Jackson Central, Mary.
Next person I want to introduce you is another local person, and her success is attributed to her perseverance. She left Jackson Central and she went to the University of Memphis, and there she stayed around and graduated and got a law degree. And based on that, she has been helping people in this community for the last 40 plus years. She's the Regional General Counsel for Child Services for the state of Tennessee in Jackson. And she's licensed in Georgia, and she is associated with the U.S. Supreme Court. So I'd like to introduce to you my classmate, Jeanette Spivey.
Greetings to everyone. As Mike said, my name is Jeanette Spivey. I grew up a stone's throw away in Parkways Apartments. Yay, Parkways. Projects, prior to coming to Jackson, grew up on a farm. I'm a sharecropper's granddaughter, so you can do anything that you want to do with God's help. And I always say that because God is essential. As Mike said, I did go to the University of Memphis. I graduated with an undergraduate in criminal justice. But if you ever want to become an attorney, it is such a varied field. You can go in any field as long as you want to go, as long as you want to become an attorney. I did go to the University of Memphis and I graduated there. I did go to Georgia, passed the Georgia bar, and lived in Georgia for about 20 years. I came back. My background has been varied. I have been in various fields of law. At first I thought I wanted to be an employment attorney, but I have been a personal injury attorney. I have been in real estate, but my passion is where I have been for the past 15 years, and that's with the Department of Children's Services, which you know as DCS. And one of my classmates, Ms. Frida Kroon-Carter, was also there. We were on the same floor, just down the hall from each other. And so with that, with the Department of Children's Services, our passion is for children that have been abused, children that home settings are so horrible that the state of Tennessee has to come in to rectify that. One of the things that we do, the least drastic thing that we do, is to put services in the homes of parents. Sometimes we have to do the most drastic, which I hate, but we have to do it. Sometimes we have to terminate the parental rights of parents so that children can be adopted and so they can have a safe, forever home. And so it's been my pleasure to have been there. I started out with this department 15 years ago. Now I lead the department. I cover 11 counties in Southwest Tennessee, so we travel a lot. Madison County is our biggest county, but it has been my joy to come back to my hometown to reach the people here and to help the people here. I know when I was growing up, there was not a lot of examples of attorneys that I could look up to. I have a few cards, so if you ever are interested, I can give you some cards. You can feel free to call me. I'm one of these people that stay up all night, because of our caseload, because we get called 24/7, because child abuse does not happen between the hours of 9 and 5. And so this is a valuable field, and so if you ever want to know anything about being an attorney, please do contact me. And I am so happy to see all your bright faces, and I know that God has a plan for you. I know a lot of times we don't like to interject religion, but that is who I am. And my theme verse for my legal career is, open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Now, who could be more poor and needy than children who have been abused? Thank you very much.
All I can say is, wow. You see what we got going on, y'all? Because now I want to introduce you to one of our great athletes, played tight end on the football team, played center on the basketball team, still walks around here with his Texas 10-gallon hat on. And I want to introduce to you to Ted Golden. One thing about what you need to know about Ted is that Ted graduated, married a cheerleader. I'm sorry. I didn't want to bring that in. Graduated. He went to the University of Memphis State back in those days. He played football at the University of Memphis. And then he went into law enforcement. And he ended up being a special agent with the DEA. And then he retired from the DEA. And now he's a community advocate in Atlanta, Georgia. So give a round of applause to Ted Golden.
Good morning. I'm a product of Lincoln Courts and Parkway East. I want to let you know nothing is possible. I actually went to Memphis State University on a football scholarship, and at the beginning of the third season, me and the coaches didn't see eye to eye. So I walked away from the scholarship with a wife, one child, and one child on the way, 20 years old. I walked away from the scholarship. Got 2 part-time jobs, working security and at a grocery store on the weekends. I finished college in 3 years in the summer. I got 57 hours in my last semester. What I did here is what prepared me to get out there and do that. I went to college to get an education, not to play around, but to get out of there. So, August of 1979, I walked away from a scholarship. August of 1980, I walked across the stage and got my bachelor's degree. In 1983, I got a master's degree in criminal justice. It is the most important thing you can do to be successful in this life. Is get your education. If you can't read, if you can't write, or you don't want to read, you don't want to write, you really don't have a use for it. You got to make a decision that education is the key to your success. Now, I spent a lot of time in my career dealing with a lot of folks who did a lot of wrong. But let me make sure you understand something. I was an intake officer, probation officer at juvenile court in Memphis. 21 years old. Got pulled over, my wife got pulled over for speeding. And I asked the cop a question, and I went to jail. I asked him a question. Shelby County Sheriff's Officer, this tall, deputy, this tall, told me to get out of the car. What did I do? I got out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. What did I do? Put my hand behind my back. I went to jail. Got out, went to grad school. They said, oh, you're late. Where you been? I said, I've been to jail. They busted out laughing. You went to jail? Gentlemen in particular, I want to make sure you understand something. This life is not a joke. This skin ain't going nowhere. You're a threat when you walk out the door. You're a threat when you show up. You have to prepare. to survive any contact with law enforcement. Memphis cop for a couple of years, worked the red light district down there behind 4th and Vance. I know you don't know anything about Memphis. Very dangerous place. Joined the Drug Enforcement Administration and went to San Francisco, California, where I bought crack cocaine and heroin in the streets of Oakland and San Francisco for a few years. I bought drugs as an undercover agent. Okay, don't use. Locked it up, okay. So make sure that you understand something, that the drug business is successful. You're gonna make a lot of money. I'll agree with you. But there's a guy who I arrested back when he was 21 years old, he's 45. Biggest drug dealer in Oakland, California. He spent 25, 35 years in prison for selling drugs. I want to get to the meat of it though real quick because I don't want to take a whole lot of time for the people. The reason why I left San Francisco was not because I was so successful. I left San Francisco because my boss was a racist. When I went to DEA training, I was one of 5 male blacks who started training and the only one to finish. Okay? I left San Francisco and moved to Atlanta 6 months before they transferred me because of racism. You can't get away from it. It's going to follow you wherever you go. You don't really see it until you experience it at the level that I experienced it. I stand before you today as part of a committee that serves the Black Special Agent of DEA. In 1977, black agents filed a lawsuit against DEA. And they won. And guess what? 45 years later, it ain't settled. It's still going on. So what I need you to do is understand something. Your responsibility for education is your responsibility for your life. So I'm gonna cut it short. Father of 4 sons, 3 of whom played college football on scholarship. Finished college in 4 years, all 3 of them. They have master's degrees, all 3 of them. And they all tote badges and guns. One's a cop, the other 2 are DA, just like I was. Got a 16-year-old son who's just like you, getting ready to go to college. He's got a 3.75 GPA. His mom's a school teacher. She don't play. If you don't get your education, you lose. Because what you don't do is going to hurt not just you, but the folk who come behind you. My number 4 son knows he's got to get that master's degree. His mom's got a doctorate, but I expect him to get a master's degree. The only person you hurt is you. You see your best friend and your worst enemy every morning when you look in the mirror. You see your best friend and your worst enemy. Nobody can hurt you worse than you can, and nobody can help you better than you can. And your education, 1, your education is going to get you where you need to be. Number 2, your personal relationships, the people in your life, okay? And number 3, your civic responsibility. Every single last one of you, when you turn 18, need to register to vote. Because your vote counts. Last thing real quick. I'm a trainer at the King Center. We have our virtual Leadership Academy coming this summer. I want to give the information to the principal. It's going to be online. You'll be able to access it on the computer. Take advantage of the opportunity to understand what leadership is all about. Because much of what we enjoying today is because of the sacrifices of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Believe me, there's a whole lot that you don't know, that you need to know. Because without you making the right decisions in your life, there's a place for you. But like many of our classmates, we persevered. Number 1, because of the education we got in this building. You understand? So if you're not getting it, get it done. All right? Appreciate you.
You know, this guy, I've always looked up to him. So, what you may not know, but when I walk the halls of JCM, these guys elected me to president of the student council. They elected me class president a couple of years. And so they still look for me. But when I had a person that was always had my back. And I asked her to come and asked her to talk about her journey. And she started here. And then when she left, she went to Louisiana State University, LSU. And then from there, she went on and she's now an executive with an international company. So I'd like to introduce you to Ellen Friedman, my vice president.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Everybody all right? I'm good. I'm gonna tell you what they didn't tell you. Stop laughing. Y'all are here in this building because of us. When we were growing up in the 60s, if you were black, you went to one school. If you were white, you went to the other school. If you were white, you came here to Marion. If you were white, you went to Jackson High. Then they emerged. What's the word? In 1970, the two schools were across the street from each other. They built a huge crosswalk, okay? Parents were worried, teachers were worried, we weren't. We had already been merged when we were junior high. Had 3 junior highs. They were junior highs then. Parkway, Tigard, and Jackson Junior. And Michael and I ran for SGA on the same ticket. We ran on Unity. And that was the spring of '76. And the contention of JCM forming is the parents and the teachers did not allow the prom. So, Michael and I, and we were coming into the SGA, and the outgoing SGA, we decided we were going to do a prom. We had 6 weeks to try to get this passed. No, we had to do it in 6 weeks. We went to the teachers, we went to the parents. It wasn't the kids. It wasn't the kids that didn't want the prom. It was the teachers and it was the parents. Because they didn't know how we were going to act. So, they did a trial and error. They had chaperones everywhere. Once you were in, you couldn't leave. And they had teachers in the parking lot, make sure, some of us were drinking, we were across the street. But the thing is, it worked. And then, because what Mike and I can't remember the SGA president went out was name, we were able to overcome the huge obstacle, which was the parents and the teachers. And every year after that, we had a prom. Set up to have a prom or not. I would hope so, because we're all family. When Mike Miner called me in October, I saw his phone. I hadn't talked to him in 10 years. First thing I said to him, when I answered the phone, he'll shake his head, yeah. I said, who died? Or what do you want? That's exactly what I said. He goes, is that how to talk to classmates? I said, well, that means nobody died. What do you want? So he wanted me to go share the reunion with him. And that's what I'm doing. I have to go back to a reunion to start 10. As far as my career goes, I've overcome a lot of obstacles. Yes, I'm white, but I'm also Jewish. I was not allowed, the coach at Parkway would not allow a Jew to be on his team. So, at King Central, played basketball for Mr. Tony. And tennis was more my sport, so I ended up playing tennis.
Was you good at basketball?
I was actually good. I was short. I could go through 10 seconds. Huh? Mary Fuller was a basketball player for us. Mary Fuller took our girls' team all the way. And so did Ramon. What'd you say? Yeah. Huh? Anyway, I went to LSU. I graduated. I took the 5-year plan because I was close to New Orleans. And now I live in Dallas. And, Jackson will always be home. This will always be my family. We cannot talk for 10, 15 years, pick up the phone, and boom, we're back together. Now, I also coach. I retired. I volunteered to coach girls basketball in the city of Fort Worth. And this is what I'm going to tell you. This is what I told my team every single day they came to practice. And believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is. They're not going to do it. And if every morning you wake up and look in the mirror and you say that, looking in your eyes in the mirror and say, I believe in myself, that's the first step towards success. Now I tell my girls that, you know what, next in the spring, fall, y'all gonna be seniors. Look around, not walk in the cafeteria. Because y'all are going to be the ones that everybody's going to look up to. Watch for the student that's sitting by themselves. They're not sitting by themselves because they want to. You don't know what that student's going through. You guys all look like y'all are hip, and y'all going to be the popular kids. Sit by them. Take the time to say hello. It'll make your day, and it'll help them. It's all about believing in yourself, and you'll have success. Thanks, y'all.
So you guys know that we had a great time when we were here. The next person that I want to introduce you to graduated, left JCM, went to New Jersey, graduated from Fairleigh Dickinson University, and from there went on to work for a major international banking company. And he did that for a while and said, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. And he's been in business for himself the last 15 years. I want to introduce to you guys, let him come up and give a word. Lee Reeves. Lee.
Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a different perspective. I came from one of the worst projects here in Jackson, and my grades were not the best grades. I wasn't the best student. By the time I got to JCM, I started to turn it around a little bit. But I wanted to appeal to those of you who may not have the best grades in the world, or I also came from a single-parent household living in the projects. So, and again, this is one of the worst projects in the city at the time. But I had visions and dreams of what it was that I wanted to do. And I heard Ellen say earlier that you gotta see it in order to believe it and achieve it. In my mind, I knew that there was something better for me. I got to JCM, I ended up in some of the vocational clubs. I was in VICA and DECA, and I ran track in 76 and 77, but it wasn't quite doing it for me. So as Michael said, I moved up to New Jersey. I started in finance. I worked with AXA Equitable, which is the 13th largest company, not in the United States, but in the world. I held an officer's position in that company for about 20, 25 years. And as Michael said, I decided I wanted to do something different. And that was a big risk to me because I felt like I was doing exactly what I wanted to do at that point. He said I got tired and left corporate America. I really didn't get tired and leave corporate America. I left corporate America and I actually did a walk from New York to San Francisco to raise money for 9/11. I lived in New York when those towers came down. My wife and I were in my office the day the planes came in and hit that building. And we had the hardest time. It took us a whole day to get out of New York. We went through every major crossing to try to get out of New York City, and we couldn't do it. When New York finally opened back up, and I was living in New Jersey at the time, and I would commute into New York, and I'd see the first responders going back and forth down to those towers, trying to get the debris out and rescue the people. I decided I wanted to do something there as well. And what I could see as I was driving in and out of New York, where there were a lot of people in the medians holding up signs in support for the first responders, what they were trying to do. So I had a great relationship with some of the guys at the New York Giants. George Martin, who was the team captain of the 1986 Super Bowl Giants, approached me and asked if I would be willing to do a walk across the country to raise money for 9/11. So we spent 9.5 months walking from New York City to San Francisco, California, to raise money to raise $3.5 million over 9.5 months. Actually, we came through Jackson. And one of the pinnacles in my career for me was when I came through Jackson, they shut it down for me. Jerry Jisoo was the manager at the time. He and Johnny Dodd came out to one of the fire departments, and some of my classmates came out. I'm not quite sure. Okay. So we had some of the classmates who were there with me, and the mayor came out. They gave us keys to the city. But I got to tell you, we were honored as Person of the Week and Person of the Year by ABC. We had NFL traveling with us. We had HBO traveling with us. When we came through Jackson and we came through Memphis, we had HBO on tour with us. They filmed the whole thing. So, but that was the pinnacle for me. Of all the things I accomplished in my life, the pinnacle was me coming back to the city where I was a kid in a high school with bad grades, coming from the projects, with probably a C grade level as I was in high school, but then to come back and have the mayor present me the keys of the city was really a big accomplishment for me. Thank you. So Michael, you want to talk about being tired. After 9.5 months and 3,000 miles, then I was tired. So what I decided to do at that point, I told my wife that we were going to retire. I think I was 50. I was in my 50s at the time. I told my wife we were going to retire and take some time off, but then I got bored and I started this business. The company that I own now, our biggest client is NYPD. NYPD are clients of mine. The NFL was clients of mine. I work with the Giants. I work with some of the Patriots, the Broncos, and the list goes on and on. But there's another common theme that I want to tell you, that when you achieve success, and for those of you who believe it, you are going to do it. When you achieve that success, it's important that you give back. For the past 10 years, and I heard that sentiment echoed earlier, by the way, for the past 10 years, we've had a program in New York. And again, I was an inner city kid. We go door to door and we deliver gifts to inner city kids. We work also with child abuse organizations, and we give back every year. The city of New York shuts down the city for me. They give us police escorts, and we literally go door to door giving out gifts. So there's a couple of themes that I want to drive home with you. One is, don't let your environment define who you are. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you believe it. You got to believe it. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. The second thing is, choose your role models carefully. Those people that you choose as your role models are the ones that you're going to emulate. Be very careful who you choose as your role model. And the third thing is, you got to give back. When you achieve that level of success, you got to give back. I want to thank Michael for inviting me. Thomas, I know you played a big role in asking me to come up and speak. My classmates, I look around the room, excuse me, I see Teddy and I go back and forth all the time. A.G. Anthony Gills is up there, Thomas Mercer. I see Mark Simmons. We all go back and forth. These relationships that you form, they're going to stick with you. This is 45 years later, and we're still staying in touch. We're still keeping together. And again, I want to wish you all the very best, all the success of your dreams and your future endeavors. Michael, thank you.
Okay, all right. Hey guys, 3 more old people. Okay, 3 more old people. And so, again, you start picturing the dynamics of what we had when we were here at Jackson. And so the next guy that I wanted to introduce you to was actually one of the top graduates in our class. Went on to University of Tennessee, got a degree in mechanical engineering, and then guess what? He went and worked for ExxonMobil for 37 years, with 27 different countries, and lived in 14 of those countries. And he was also our center on the football team. very great guy, great friend. I want to introduce to you Tim Cable. Tim.
One clarification. I lived in a couple of different countries, but no, I remember when 50-cent gasoline was considered high. So I'll blame it for that. No, I grew up. My mom and dad grew up in Bemis, and I grew up in Jackson. Grew up down at the end of Muse Street. If you know where Muse Park is, go down that hill. I grew up in that neighborhood down there with Alexander Elementary, Parkwood Junior High, and JCM, and University of Tennessee, got my engineering degree, and then went to Texas. Went to work for Exxon, and that gave me the opportunity over the course of 37 years to travel the world on oil and gas projects, and I've been to other countries outside of that. But just my mind was racing with all the different things I'd like to convey to you. One thing that I learned in traveling and working in the oil and gas industry in different countries, from Trinidad to Nigeria to Indonesia to Papua New Guinea to countries I've never even heard of, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, is that most of the world doesn't have what we have in this country. What I found is the United States is the most diverse country I've ever been in. The diversity here is like no other country. The opportunities here are like no other country. The freedom we have here is like no other country. And the people of the world, the places I've been, long for what we have. And I believe as time goes on and countries develop, they will get more of what we have. And we and you can be a light and an example of freedom and opportunity in supporting development in other countries to advance in their economic development, their social development, and be free and have opportunities. In the course of my career with Exxon, and kind of an aside, when I left JCM, I went off to college. So essentially, I left Jackson 40 years ago. And most of that time I lived in Texas. We lived in Scotland a couple of years, and then I finished up my career. I lived in Equatorial Guinea, a little country in West Africa, for 6 years. Worked there and lived there for 6 years. And retired, and my Texan wife and I moved back to Jackson. So she was already here when I was working in Africa. And I got on a plane in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, flew back to Memphis, and came to Jackson in May of 2018. After having lived in Texas and other places, came back to Jackson, in my hometown. And it was like coming back to a totally new city. But Jackson is a fantastic place. Even coming back after 40 years, the longer I'm here, the more I realize how wonderful this city is, and this community, this region of the country is beautiful and wonderful people, and I'm just grateful to be here. My wife grew up in Texas. She's always loved Tennessee, and she's very happy to be here. But one thing, back to my working with Exxon, over the course of 37 years, I really had about 3 or 4 different careers there, moving in different assignments, and where we produce oil, to explore oil, to build facilities. And one thing I want to leave with, I've always had to keep learning. I've always have had to continue to learn. New assignments, new countries, there's always things that have to be learned. You never know it all. So one thing I wish I had in high school and in college was more of a passion for really learning what I was being taught, and not just give enough to pass a test, but to really learn and understand and get a passion for learning. And as I've grown older, my interest and passion for learning has grown. So the thing is to continue all your life to be a learner, to ask questions, want to know, like, how does this work? Or why does this work? Or why is this way? How can we do something different? How can we do things better? How can we make my work better? How can I make my community better? Why is it the way it is? What can I do to make it better? Always be asking questions that are going to lead you to have to search and learn. And that's going to grow you in your career, in your family life, in your social life. That's what I want to leave with you this time. Always be learning more and more all the time. Thank you.
All right, so now we have our next speaker is someone you probably already know because her daughter teaches here. And she graduated from JCM, went to University of Tennessee Martin, and then came back and became a teacher in our community for over 20 years. Ms. Frida Brown.
It's so good to see you all. I don't have any really fascinating stories to tell you about my life, but it was good. It was really a good life. I'm one of the products of Lincoln Court, just right across. Now they call it the Bricks, but we had good times there. Came from a two-parent family. My mother and father. My mother was a beautician. My father worked at Sears. Had a good life. Didn't know anything better, but it was a good life. I didn't have just what people might think wasn't a fascinating career. I chose to go into social work. Graduated from the University of Tennessee at Martin. Pledged the best sorority, Miss Dorsey. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But anyway, I'm just here to let you all know that you have options. Where you were created is not your destination. I was in a meeting all day yesterday, and I told them, I said, I'm retired. Why am I sitting in this meeting with mental health? But that's my background. I started off at Pathways, which was called Jackson Counseling Center back then. I have had a passion for people all of my life. Started out in pre-law because that's what I thought that I wanted to do. But I saw there was a need to help more by being a social worker. Because a social worker, you have to have a passion for people. And that's what I do. I went on and worked at Pathways. I did group and individual counseling for over 30 years. Left Pathways, went to Western Mental Health Institution. Because the mind is something else. The mind is such a individual thing. You can put your mind to do whatever you want to do. And if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? And as I was sitting in the meeting yesterday, I took some notes, and I said, oh, this will be good for my fellow classmates, the class of 2023. And I said, I had sat in a meeting from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in over 6 years. But this was with the Department of the State of Tennessee, Mental Health Alliance, Christ-based. So I'm like my friend, attorney, Jeanette Spivey, if you don't have God, learn him now. Learn him right now. Because see, that's your best friend. And I'm not throwing religion on anybody. Because when you start talking about religion, so many people stray away. But I want to let you know right now, religion, God, you can call him Father. You can call him my daddy. I call him my main man. Because see, I don't have one here. But I call him my main man. The one who's going to take care of me. He's going to take care of me. All I have to do is call his name and let him know, I need you. And he's going to be there for you. Don't follow the leader. Be the leader. Let leader. Be the leader. Don't follow the leader, you're the leader. Do what you set out to do for your destination. Those young men's lives are gone. We cannot bring them back. We can only mourn them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you do wrong, wrong follows you. So learn to be the leader, to do what you want to do. When I was at Western State, had so many people there that mine was gone because they chose to follow the leader. Left Western State, came back to Pathways because the mind had left somebody and started an employment security program. Because see, when your mind leaves you, if you believe and trust in yourself, it can come back. It can come back. It might not come back as strong as what it was, but it can come back. So remember that. Then I left there and went to the Department of Human Services. And I have young ladies that come up to me now, I don't even know them. And they came because they were pregnant, needed assistance. And I'm like, okay. It's not a mistake because a child is not a mistake. But it's just a hinder at that particular time. So remember, just because you hindered yourself from doing something, don't let it stop your destination. Because see, you make your own destination. You were created. You don't make your own destination. When you leave out this room today, your destination is going to follow you. So decide what you want your destination to be. So then, after I felt like I had helped those at Department of Human Service with food stamps, teen care, all of that, we've all received it at one time. It's no shame. When we were in college, we were ready to go up there and try to get in line and get us some food stamps. Because, if you did work study, you could apply for food stamps. So, hey, we were right there trying to get us some. Anything free, you try to get it. But everything free is not good for you. Remember that. Also, after that, I chose to go to the Department of Children's Service, where I dealt with most of your age, trying to see, now what's going on with your mind? All of it wasn't child abuse. Some of it was because some of you need ankle monitors because you chose to follow the leader instead of being the leader. Just remember that. Did that for such a long time. And so I decided, hey, I'm tired. My daughter's grown, teaching right STEM right there. Praise God for that position. So, hey, I'm glad, I'm good. So I said, well, I'm going to go on and retire and do what freedom wants to do. So that's what I did. Then I said, I was sitting in that chair all day long, just napping with my head all back, because that's what I enjoy doing. But I said, let me do something else. I'm creative. God gave me the talent to do anything that I want to do. I plan parties, I plan weddings, I do all kind of decorations, I cater. That's my joy. And so I decided to come back out the workforce just for 20 hours a week. And that's what I was telling them yesterday. I wasn't expecting to sit up in a meeting all day long. But anyway, I just want to let you all know where you started does not mean where you end. Your destination is your final place. And like all of these have talked about, there are big money careers. It doesn't matter what career you choose. Everybody's not to go to college. Everybody can't go to college. But you can do something. You can do something. If you go to the Army, we have some Army millionaires down here that chose to go to the Army. We have folks that worked in factories that made more money than I made as a social worker. So it's not what you do. Remember that it's not what you do, it's how well you do it. And be good at what you do. Be good at what you do. Like I tell my daughter, Miss Connor, you be the best STEM teacher that you can be. Because if somebody want to hug, even though we can't really hug no more, we do do this hug right here and let you know that, hey, this is my hug to you. So I'm giving you all a hug today and tell you that you're all worth somebody. So if somebody can tell you this morning that I love you, I'm going to tell you, I love y'all. I love you. I love all of you. I love Tresiah. So if my hair looking a mess, y'all put it on her mom. Because that's my beautician. I was going to get me a ponytail and stick it down and go on around. But, you know, hey, I just did what the grown folks do. I'm going to leave y'all with these few little things that I jotted down yesterday. Have a safe place to dream. Start dreaming now. You seniors, start looking at what you want to do with your life. Have a safe place to fail. Because every time you're not going to win, you're not going to achieve. Plan to have a no judgment zone where nobody's going to judge you. I'm sure Miss Dorsey see you all do things, and she doesn't judge you. She let it slide sometimes. But anyway, understand your choices and your consequences. Understand healthy decision. And always remember respectful and respectable. Keep those two in mind. I have enjoyed talking to you all. My door is open. Miss Dorsey has my number. If you want to know how to become a social worker and how to become a good social worker, give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Frida. Okay, bear with us just a couple more minutes. Okay, all right. So, sometimes, you know, we take advantage of what life gives you. And I want to bring up one of my classmates who took full advantage of the things that were given to her. Tracy Forrest, please come up.
Okay, I'm gonna make this really quick, short and sweet. Okay, I didn't play sports because I was lousy at them. Social stuff, I excelled at, okay? So what do you think that I decided to do? I decided to take everything forth and like have a great time going forth in life and making sure that I really wanted to make sure I had children because I was an only child and everything. From Berry Street, I forgot, they have said all the great stuff that, you know, you don't need to hear again, okay? But went forth in life, did Tennessee State University. Who's going there? Who's thinking about it? It's gonna be at least 20 or 30 of you, right? Yeah. The best school ever, okay? So from there, I met this great guy, you know, followed him to Wichita, Kansas. Didn't even know where Wichita, Kansas was, you know. But there we had 4 children. We also became self-employed. So I'm from the self-employed sector. I didn't have a big company behind me and all of that. But self-employment is the best, one of the best methods, because everybody here is going to choose a path. They're going to do, you know, a company and everything, and a lot of you are going to be self-employed. With you being self-employed, be the best self-employed you can. Pay your taxes. Then make sure that you live life to its fullest. Make sure you travel. One of my #1 favorite things I tell everybody in Wichita, Kansas, that's my cousin there, your principal. One of the first things I tell everyone, my favorite thing to do is to travel to the airport. Because what happens at the airport? You're traveling, yes. So that's one of my favorite things. I love going to every corner. Yes. I love going to every corner of the world, and I'm telling you, it's fun. And believe it or not, African Americans travel. I want you to know that. Don't think that that does not happen. We travel and we crawl all over this world. And I can tell you, yes, I can tell you right now, the day that you do one of the most important things on earth, listen to this carefully, and that is to get a passport. Who has a passport already? All right. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, all you need is your birth certificate, and once you have your passport, that is your entree to the world and to knowledge and to, you know, just living life as it's supposed. I'm done. But you guys have been wonderful.
Okay, one more. Okay, so this guy, you know, we were worried about him when we were in high school. We were truly worried about him. We said, well, you know, we might go up to rush him out of state and visit him. But all of a sudden, it just kind of blossomed out and became one of the great ministers that he is down in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to introduce to you the elder, Dr. Shane Boone, basketball player.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, everybody. Come on, somebody just say praise the Lord. Amen. Amen. All right. I know they base with time. They base with time. And they gonna give a Southern Baptist preacher a mic. All right. All right. So listen. I want to thank God for all of these classmates of mine for their wonderful speeches, their wonderful sharing. There's nothing that I can add to it, but I do want the students to know that I'm the reason that they didn't have no prom. All right? Go ahead, blame it on me. I'm the reason they didn't have no prom, but I'm also the reason that this school has the highest class that graduated, the highest number, because I was in that class, and no one thought I was going to make it. Amen, and amen. Yep, I come from Lincoln Court. I heard Frida said her mother was a beautician, but her daddy every weekend cut my hair. Amen. That's why I don't have any hair now. Amen. Mr. Crew cut my hair. But listen, I just want y'all to know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Thank God for Attorney Spivey. She laid it out in the right direction. There's nothing that you can't do. Matter of fact, the scriptures say, whatever your hands find it to do it with all your might. Because there's no glory in the grave for where all of us got to go. So sometimes you just got to give it all you got. And if you do it well, let me tell you, it'll never leave you. That's why I can still shoot a three. And I tell you, I won't get tired of making it. All right? All right. Yep. I heard my classmate talk about giving back. You must give back. Matter of fact, you might as well start right now. Some of the people that are having struggles getting their classes, getting their homework, getting their studies, just let them know what time it is. Let them know what you know. Share your knowledge, share your talents, share your finances, and whatever you do, start saving. Start saving some money now. Start saving some money, calling your family, friends, and loved ones for cash apps and bitmos and all of that stuff. Go ahead on, get you a job. I worked since I was 11 years old in Crocker Shopper over there in D&L Groceries over in Parkway East. I am from Lincoln Court. I go by Lincoln Court every time I'm in Jackson, Tennessee to see who I can help, what I can do. And most of all, I want to thank God for the class of 1977 for laying the foundation. Thank God for Michael Manor for having us here today. And thank God for each and every one of you for being here. And if you would, please, let us stand and pray. Come on, let us stand and pray. Come on, let us stand and pray. Amen. Let us just stand and pray. Father, in the matchless and the most powerful name of Jesus Christ, we thank you for the class of 77. We thank you for the class of 22. We thank you for the class of 23. We thank you for all the principals, all the educators, all the assistants, everybody that has anything to do with our life. Now we ask that you give us grace, give us mercy, and let us live and be all that we can be in the name of Jesus Christ. May the Lord bless you and keep you. By the way, I'm Elder Dr. Shelley, senior pastor, Word of Life Ministry, located in Atlanta, Georgia. And anytime you're in Atlanta, y'all look me up, Google me, catch me on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you can find me. But whatever you do, just say, praise the Lord. And we'll see you in the next year. God bless you. God keep you. In Jesus' name. Amen.
You know what? We want to thank you for Word.
Let's give all of our guests a round of applause. We are so inspired by all the history that JCM has. And the thing about it is, they talked about people and going to college. It's about networking. So think about what field that you want to be in. We have engineers here. We have social workers here. We have attorneys here. We have just different Exxon, that gas. Think about gas prices now and things like that. So these are people that you can connect with and be able to learn more about that field. Because some of you are still kind of confused on what you want to do, which is okay. Because you still have another year to figure it out. Even when you go to college, when I went to college my freshman year, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to nursing. But I don't even like blood, so I don't know why I went there for nursing. But anyway, long story short is I wanted to become an educator. So you don't really know what you want to do until you graduate from high school, go to college, and try to figure it out. But we do have alumni here to support you, and that's why they want to come and speak to you today. So let's give them a round of applause.
What we're going to do is that if you go online, and we'll have this set up for you in the next day or so. Go online to JCM1977.com. JCM1977.com. There'll be a link on there. If you need to reach out to any classmate, just click on that link, let us know who you are, and we will have someone contact you.